last night, ensconced in a New York parlor, a select committee of academics, literati, and my guy Mark from the Gucci store convened to churn, fight, and toil. Oh, and burn that midnight oil to create the best segment in all of sports media. It's an honor and a privilege. It's time for Nick's Tears.
Thank you very much for the great introduction, as always, Kevin Wildes. This week, a few special parts of the tiers. The very top has a special note, and also the eliminated segment of the tiers. This is, we didn't need any algorithm for this. This means you are literally mathematically eliminated. Let us see it, please. Wildes, it's a tradition unlike any other. Second straight year, final tiers of the regular season. You know what we talk about?
What?
Cliff Kingsbury hot seat.
Oh.
We planted that flag 2 years ago, and we might be seeing it bloom here in about 10 days. Also, by the way, fun note about Colts-Texans this weekend before we move on. The Colts should totally throw the game, right? They don't want Bryce Young in that division. Throw the game, make the Texans get the second pick, and improve your draft pick. Jeff Saturday, if there's anything you know how to do, it's how to lose a game, buddy. And no one will suspect you're throwing it because it's Jeff Saturday. All right, now on to the tiers.
Very true.
Bottom tier, regicide. That's the attempt or the killing of royalty. That's what the Titans are trying to do this weekend, but it will not work. Trevor Lawrence will succeed. Next, too many teams. If any of these teams make the playoffs, it's going to be kind of like last year, where we wake up NFL Super Wild Card Weekend and be like, well, they didn't need the seventh team.
Not
we don't
true.
need to see the Steelers again in those. They get waxed in the first round. Probably don't need them in the playoffs. Coach Mangini, I apologize. Oh no, you're coming in. Wild, you're coming in a moment. My apologies.
Thank you.
I know. I got a little perplexed. I apologize. You guys were looking at me like you disagreed with my take.
We like
It was
the
great
Patriots.
takes. All right, next, happy to get in. You can't win around, but you're going to be happy to get in, but for different reasons. The Dolphins happy to get in because it will prevent an all-time collapse from 8-3 to out of the playoffs entirely. The Lions will be happy to get in because it will be an all-time great season out of nowhere from Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions when he was on the hot seat. And the Packers will be happy to get in because then Aaron Rodgers will get to go on Pat McAfee's show for 6.5 hours and do an I Told You So marathon that everybody's waiting to hear. Now, Wilds, go right ahead.
Okay, I would like you.
Yeah.
I'm okay with where they are in the tiers, but I would like you to personally put some respect on Jared Goff's name, or as I like to call him, the Prince of the North. Jared Goff.
Prince of the North.
Look at Jared Goff, 7-2. Look at the touchdowns to interceptions. What?
Yeah.
I said, Josh, get this graphic off my desk.
17-1?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, you can't make mistakes like this.
Wow.
He said, no, Wildes, that's right. I said, oh, geez, I already called the bosses trying to get you fired. He said, no, this is a correct graphic. So now they're going to play the Packers.
Yeah.
And now if the Packers played any other offensive powerhouse, we would think, you know what, Packers are going to be in trouble. But they're playing the Lions, they'll probably win. Not true. The Lions average more points than the following teams: the Buffalo Bills, the 49ers, the Vikings and Justin Jefferson, the Bengals with Joe Burrow. Jared Goff and the Lions are better offensive team than all those guys. But you cling on to the old Jared Goff. The old Jared Goff that Sean McVay had to scuttle away so he could laugh at the Patriots draft picks. Well, who's laughing now, my friend? Jared Goff's going to the playoffs.
Okay, well, I mean, Sean McVay did scuttle him away and then win a Super Bowl.
Well.
And I will admit, listen, it is important to be unbiased, but if you can't be unbiased, it is important to admit your biases. And I have a bias against tiny-handed quarterbacks. It's why Pittsburgh and Detroit, they're going to have to really impress me if they're going to move up the tiers. With that said, the reason I don't believe in the Lions is not because of the offense, because Amon-Ra St. Brown's been great. Jamal Williams is a touchdown machine. Yeah. We haven't seen Detroit since Barry Sanders. DeAndre Swift is fun and really good. But that defense has been really, really bad. And even though I think they can beat Green Bay this weekend, I think they will beat Green Bay this weekend, I think they will be chum in the water for the 2-seed San Francisco 49ers. Coach, I was so excited to hear your take. I jumped to you early. Go ahead.
I know, and I appreciate that. And I think we need to put some respect on Jared Goff's name, but I think we need to put more respect on Geno Smith's name.
Oh!
And Geno Smith, to me, has been as surprisingly good as Russell Wilson has been surprisingly bad.
Oh.
And Geno Smith going into the season, and I said it, Russell Wilson had 11 Pro Bowl appearances. Geno Smith had 13 wins. So that just tells you how different those two guys are. But let me show you a little quarterback reveal.
Yeah, blind reveal.
A little blind reveal, and see if you guys can figure out who these two quarterbacks are.
I'm guessing one of them is Geno Smith.
Yes, that's
okay.
right.
I don't know who the other one is. All right.
The
Show
other
that
quarterback
is interesting.
is Geno Smith.
Wow.
And let's look at last time he played through 16 games, and look at the difference. Completion percentage up 14%, TDs up 17,
That looks great.
interceptions down 12, passer rating 36.4 better.
Wow.
Okay?
Good.
And so I think Detroit's going to beat Green Bay.
Nice.
And I think Seattle's going to go ahead and take care of
so
what they need to
Seattle
take
gets
care
in.
of. And I think that Geno Smith has a message for Nick and his Fears Committee.
Okay.
To the committee.
You know what?
You wrote him off, but he didn't write
Where's
back.
the committee of the
Well
Seahawks?
done.
It is unprecedented.
What?
You know what? We're not going to be able to do it graphically, but in my mind, Seahawks and Lions have been flipped. Coach, you win.
Wow.
Coach, you lose. My apologies. Well done, Coach.
allowed to do
listen,
that?
you know what?
Without
better
talking
check with
to,
the
without
committee.
talking to the committee, they're going to be mad at me. But
I might
you know,
just walk off stage.
I get privileged. And by the way, Geno Smith, who was on my MVP pyramid a few months ago, and Brew mocked me. I didn't even have all that data Coach just had. That was great, Coach. I appreciate that. All right, moving on with the tiers. Scary matchup. We've seen this game before. This game is scary for Minnesota because it literally took a 61-yard field goal at the gun for them to win the first time.
True.
It's scary for the Giants because if they win, they're probably going to extend Daniel Jones. Yikes.
He's good.
I know, okay, well, that's what he wants you to think. So a scary matchup should be a good round one.
So much hate.
Comeback quarterback. This isn't like, oh my, like Patrick Mahomes, first time I'm mentioning him.
wow.
Like he's great and comeback wins. No, it's like, please come back. Like we really need you to come back. Philadelphia was 13-1. And then their quarterback went down and they're 0-2 without him. Baltimore is 3-2 without their quarterback. However, they have scored 10, 16, 3, 17, and 13. That is less than 12 points per game. Both of these teams are drawing completely dead if their quarterbacks do not come back and come back looking the way they had looked before. Next, royalty and a robot. Well, royalty speaks for itself.
Wow.
Robot is Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry, it's Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, when you watch him play quarterback, it does look like he is processing everything the way artificial intelligence would. Not open, zing open. Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, has a very unique opportunity this weekend. For the 8th time in his 9 years playing football, getting a little jewelry. So 4 years of high school regional titles, 2 of which state titles. Then he went to college.
High school.
3 years of college, 1 national championship ring, 3 ACC championship rings. Then the rookie year, which we all know doesn't count. And this year, do they give you a ring for the AFC South? If not, Trevor, I might send you this one. There it is. And that's going to be our playoff matchup. Jags-Chargers. Next, franchise transform. I'm sorry. Next is
Ratings bonanza.
ratings bonanza. Thank you, Wildes. And we're going to get it in round 1, and it will be literally a ratings bonanza. Cowboys-Bucks.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be the bold one to pick the Bucks, as I've been telegraphing all year. Brew then decided this morning that he was all of a sudden, after trashing the Bucks all year,
Savage.
to also pick the Bucks. Some would say that's being a bad team. I would say Brew's just getting smarter by hanging out with me. Next, franchise transformers. Before Patrick Mahomes walked in the building, the Kansas City Chiefs had been to 0 Super Bowls in a half century. They had 1 playoff win in a quarter century. Since then, they've been to 2 Super Bowls and 4 AFC title games. The Cincinnati Bengals, before Joe Burrow got there, had 0 playoff wins in 30 years. Hadn't been to a Super Bowl in more than 30 years. They then immediately went to a Super Bowl and won 3 consecutive road playoff games. Those teams are not perfect football teams. However, the power of those 2 players, plus some really savvy other draft picks, have transformed those franchises into arguably the 2 best teams in the entire sport. Arguably. Mr. Quite Relevant. How are you going to call a guy Mr. Irrelevant when he's playing for a Super Bowl? That's my question. Because that's what the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy are going to do. Now, some of us will not give all the credit to the quarterback, but some people cannot help themselves but give all the credit to the quarterback. And when that happens, Brock Purdy will be, I think we haven't updated the graphic, Brew, but I do believe his quarterback wins record remains unblemished. It remains perfect. In fact, by some metrics, it makes him the greatest quarterback in NFL history. So not so irrelevant anymore. Brew, go right ahead.
Look, despite the, I don't know, 3 or 4 shots you just took at me, I'm going to be kind. First, I'm going to start with this, Nick. Nice use of vocabulary in this. Regicide, I've never even heard of that. That's a real word?
Yeah, the act of killing a
regicide,
king.
never heard of that. Chum in the water, I loved it. So I'm being serious. I'm complimenting your vocabulary.
Though.
Now let me get to the real stuff. The Eagles on the 6th tier? Just because you named it right, comeback QB, doesn't mean that is major league disrespect. We know that Jalen Hurts will be back. We definitely believe he'll be back. C.J. Gardner-Johnson's back.
Sirianni and
He'll be
Broussard.
back for the playoffs. He'll be back for the playoffs.
This video's from last week.
Get him up there. He should be up there with the 49ers, the Eagles.
Okay, well, the Eagles, listen, I said this 3 weeks ago, so stay tuned, America. In about 10 days, you're going to hear it from Brew. The Eagles are going to be one and done this postseason, and it's going to be in large part because they lost all their mojo when Jalen unfortunately went down. And then there's, of course, one team left, and that team we are calling Team Damar. So the Buffalo Bills are atop the tiers. And the folks of Buffalo have noted throughout the year the committee has been quite hard on the Bills, and some people have said that they think the committee has a bias against the Bills. But not this week. This week, everybody, no matter what NFL city you're from, no matter who you root for, there's a part of you, if not all of you, that is rooting for the Bills. So I will break the committee's objectivity and put on this Buffalo Bills hat and say we are all rooting for you, Damar, and also we hope you guys all do what the committee did earlier today, which is go hit up that GoFundMe and make a donation in Damar's name, as we're all pulling for you and we're all pulling for the Bills in spirit right now. First things first, we'll be right back.
Yeah, committee's got a good heart.
Nicely done. I like kind and gentle, Nick.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.